Hey Detroit, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network and host of the African History Network show and the creator of the African History Network Facebook fan page. I want to invite you to a very special double presentation I'm doing this Saturday, May 21st, 2016, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe in Highland Park, Michigan. I'm dealing with Malcolm X, 5 decades later. Why is he still relevant? And the history of Friday the 13th, the Moors, and the Knights Templar. Now we know May 19th, Thursday, May 19th, 2016 was the 91st anniversary of Malcolm's birth. And there were articles written, and we did a very special broadcast of the African History Network show with Dr. Greg Carr, who's the chair of the Afro-American Studies Department at Howard University. But in this presentation that I'm doing on Malcolm, we're going to talk about Malcolm's transformation in prison, how he transformed his mind, how he started studying history and all different types of subjects. We'll talk about Malcolm's emphasis on studying history, and he was good friends with Dr. John Henrik Clarke, one of our great Grandmaster Scholar warriors. And in addition to history being taught to him by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was also taught history by Dr. John Henrik Clarke as well. We'll deal with Malcolm X and how hip-hop introduced a lot of us to Malcolm X and the new generation as well. Conscious hip-hop in the late 80s and early 90s infused Malcolm X's teachings and quotes from Malcolm and clips of Malcolm X's speeches, and this introduced millions of African American youth across the country to Malcolm X and helped to counter some of the negative things that were not true about Malcolm that we were taught in the schools also. We'll talk about the movie Malcolm X from 1992 from Spike Lee and how this thrust Malcolm X into the mainstream as well and created a whole cultural revolution. There were people wearing Malcolm X jackets and t-shirts and medallions and Malcolm X glasses, things like this. Was a whole cultural revolution surrounding Malcolm X. When Malcolm leaves the Nation of Islam, gets pushed out of the Nation of Islam and finally breaks with them March 8th, 1964, Malcolm travels to 14 different African nations and meets with 11 heads of state. So we're going to talk about Malcolm's travels in 1964 and how this helped to expand his worldview. And we'll deal with Malcolm X and economic empowerment, and also talk about how toward the end of Malcolm's life and Dr. King's life, their ideologies were converging because Dr. King was big on economic empowerment also, and a lot of people don't know this as well. So we're going to deal with Malcolm X 50 years later, Malcolm X 5 decades later. Why is he still relevant? And you know, Malcolm taught us about the media, and a lot of people think what you read, see, and hear does not affect the way you think, feel, act, and behave, but that's definitely not true. And Malcolm taught us that the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent, and that's power because they control the minds of the masses. So this is taking place Saturday, May 21st, 2016, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe, located at 12511 Woodward Avenue in Highland Park, Michigan, 4 blocks south of the Davidson Freeway between Glendale and Highland Street. Now, this is part of Nandy's African Marketplace, which is organized by Infinite Excellence. The marketplace is open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., so come by. There'll be a lot of African-American vendors there. You can help support African-American-owned businesses. And my presentation, my double presentation, is from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Now, the second presentation that I will do is the history of Friday the 13th, Frigga Triskaidekaphobia, the Moors, and the Knights Templar. So we know last Friday, May 13th, was Friday the 13th. And why are some people afraid of Friday the 13th? The fear of Friday the 13th is called Frigga Triskaidekaphobia. Frigga Triskaidekaphobia. The fear of the number 13 is called Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia. But some people are afraid of Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is said to be an unlucky day. And some people are afraid of the number 13. So we're going to deal with some of the history surrounding that, and that history takes you in different directions. You deal with Christian history, you deal with some of the history of the Moors going into Europe in 711 AD, going into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, and they're taking into Europe math and science and algebra, alchemy, or what we today call chemistry. They're introducing all types of foods, all types of musical instruments. They're taking in medicine, alcohol, teaching surgery, all different types of things like this. And they go all throughout Europe. They go into France and Spain and Portugal, Germany, Austria. They go into places like Sicily and Crete. They go all throughout Europe. And in 1118 AD, you have a group that's going to become known as the Knights Templar. And they're going to get some of these teachings and become very powerful. And when they are disbanded, it was said to be, it was October 13th, Friday, October 13th, when they were rounded up. And in France, they were rounded up. And it was, most sources say that was 1307. But it was said to be the day that the knowledge stopped. It was said to be the day that the knowledge stopped. Okay. So we're going to deal with some of that history, and then you deal with some of the history of the Moors, the Knights Templar, the Crusades. Then also it gets into Scandinavian or Nordic mythology, dealing with Odin and dealing with Thor, things like this. So it takes you into a number of different directions. So we're going to deal with that also. That's my second presentation, the history of Friday the 13th, the Moors, and the Knights Templar. So this is taking place this Saturday, May 21st, 2016. The African Marketplace is open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. My presentation is from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. This is a free event. Donations will be accepted. This is at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe, 12511 Woodward Avenue, Highland Park, Michigan, 4 blocks south of the Davidson Freeway between Glendale and Highland Street. We have the flyer at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And if you want to be a vendor, contact Janelle at 313-826-1618, 313-826-1618, or Dawn at 248-221-2711, 248-221-2711, or email infinite.excellence@yahoo.com, infinite.excellence@yahoo.com. And I'll have my DVD presentations available at our vendor table also. Now, be sure to listen to the African History Network show Thursdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Blog Talk Radio Network, blogtalkradio.com/the African History Network show. And also listen to the African History Network show every Sunday, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation, 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. You can listen from around the world to both of those shows. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information there on how to listen. And remember, all of my DVD presentations are available at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I have 25 DVD presentations there. My latest presentation is Redistributing the Pain. Redistributing the Pain, how African Americans historically fought back with economic boycotts. Redistributing the Pain. And don't miss African Liberation Day, coming up Friday, May 27th and Saturday, May 28th at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. It's a free event. We have the information at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, about that. Keynote speaker on Friday will be Dr. Greg Carr, who's the chair of the Afro-American Studies Department at Howard University. And I will be speaking on Saturday at 3 p.m. My presentation on Saturday will deal with breaking the chains on our minds, and it will deal with redistributing the pain, how African Americans historically fought back with economic boycotts. Okay, how we fought back against European white supremacy and racism with economic boycotts. All right, well, look, hope to see everybody Saturday. Hope to see everybody at African Liberation Day. And listen to the podcast of the African History Network show at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Remember, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you have been taught about yourself is based upon everything you have read, seen, and heard about yourself. So right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.